Hey guys, welcome back to Blood Part 2. All right, we're picking up on agglutination. So basically, agglutination is when your red blood cells clump together after a transfusion, and that's bad because when your blood clots together and it doesn't move through your blood vessels anymore, you might die. If you just have a little bit of clotting, you just got a little bit of the wrong blood, then a lot of times you just have some symptoms and it's not completely you won't necessarily die, but some symptoms would include the anxiety, hard time breathing, your face would flush, headaches, pain in different parts of your body, just depending on where it's clumping at. And the red blood cells could end up bursting because they're clumped together in such a tight spot, and that can end up in jaundice because that goes to your liver, and then liver's has too much iron in there. And then it could lead to possible kidney failure because your kidneys can't get it all out of your system in enough time. All right, so there are three types of antigens. It's A, B, and then the Rh. The Rh is going to be whether or not you are positive or negative. These are two totally different traits. So if you remember back in biology, you probably learned about blood typing when you did Punnett squares, and you had to learn that the A and the B are codominant to the O, which is recessive. Now, you don't have to know all that. I'm just giving you a, hey, you've learned blood before, possibly more recently than other people. And then the positive and negative aspect is the Rh factor. And the Rh is from the Ricci monkey, which is where they originally tested and discovered the positive and negative factors. All right, and then you have your antibodies. You have anti-A, anti-B, and anti-Rh, which is still your positive negative. All right, so the problem here is if you have, so these little pink circles here, these are your red blood cells. So this is red blood cell A, and it has circles on it, and this is red blood cell B, and it has little squares on it. So if you have an anti-B, which is what is produced when you have an A, then that's good because these two can't stick together. Do you see this? There's no agglutination. Same thing here. If you have a blood type B with a little square antigen, and then you have these little antibodies that have little squares, that's bad because then they can stick together. This kind of reminds me of like lock and key, the substrate, and the enzyme, where there's one key and there's one lock and they fit together. Well, this is the same concept, except for you don't want them to fit together. That's bad because then you have this right here where they're all clumped together, and that is terrible. All right, to the next slide. All right, so here you have your A blood cell, your B blood cell, your AB blood cell, and your O blood cell. So here you have A with the antigens, and the antigens are shown down here too in this chart. So these have a circle, and these have a square, and then if you're AB blood cell, or blood type, that means that you have both the A gene and the B gene. So you got an A from your mom or your dad and a B from your mom or your dad. And so therefore you have both of the antigens on the outside of your red blood cell. And that means that your body makes no antibodies in the plasma. You have none because either one of them would end up clumping, and then that would be bad. And if you have O, then you have no antigens, and you have both antibodies in your blood system. And this is the reason why you have to have the right blood donation. And that's why they have to know what type of blood you have, and it all has to be tested. All right, and so this Rh factor down here is just whether or not it's positive or negative. That's not shown in the chart here. All right, so moral of the story, if you have an A blood cell, you have a B antibody. If you have a B blood cell, you have an A antibody. If you have an AB blood cell, you have no antibody. And if you have an O blood cell, you have both antibodies. Got it? Good. Memorize it. All right. So there's this other little piece that's pretty cool. Erythroblast blastocyst. So this is when you have a negative mom. So it can be A, B, or AB, or O, but it has the negative. So if the mom is negative and has a Rh positive, so any of the blood types positive, the first pregnancy is usually not a big deal because when the positive and the negative blood meets during the labor and delivery, it'll go over that placental barrier at some point during there, and it's not a big deal the first time. But if she has another baby that's also Rh positive, then when those two meet, her blood is ready, already has all of the appropriate fighters down there to make sure that whatever blood they see, they're going to get rid of it. And that can kill the baby and maybe kill the mom. So this used to be a big problem when a mom and a baby had a different blood type, which can happen because of genetics. But now we have this Romglow, and there's actually 2 other medications now. This was just the first one, but now they just test you, and if they know that you have a different blood type from your baby, they'll give you this medication, and it's not a problem. Interesting. All right, and so here's our little video over who the blood is for, and since I'm making a second video, I can show you this one. Okay, so if you are A positive, you can only give to A and AB positive. You can't give to the negative side. And then if you are A negative, you can give to the A and the AB side for positive and negative. So B can give to B and AB if it's positive. And then so B negative can give to AB and B, positive and negative. And the reason is because if it's negative, it doesn't have the antigen for the negative, and so therefore it's safe to give to both positive and negative. If it's positive, that means it has that positive antigen also, and that would mess up with the negative on this side. All right, and so because O has no antigens or antibodies at all, that means that it can give to any of the side that's positive. But because it's positive, it can't give to any of the negatives. And then O negative is your universal donor. Because there are no antigens and no antibodies for either of the positive piece or the negative piece or the actual red blood cell, that means it can give blood to everyone. This is your universal donor. All right, guys, and that is going to conclude our blood notes. So with that, we will see you guys later.